When we think about a child's development, we often focus on the milestones we can see and hear. Their first words, their first steps, their first smiles. For many families, however, the journey includes unexpected challenges. One of the most profound is when a child struggles to communicate, a hallmark of what we now call autism spectrum disorder. The puzzle of autism has captivated scientists and families for decades, leading us down many paths of inquiry. Today, we are exploring a compelling idea that suggests the origins of autism may begin long before a baby is born, in the quiet, hidden world of the womb, during the earliest and most delicate moments of life. This changes how we see the condition entirely. Imagine the intricate wiring of a complex electrical system. The human nervous system is infinitely more complex, and its construction begins just weeks after conception. We are now looking closely at the brainstem, the fundamental control center that connects the brain to the rest of the body. Within this vital structure are the cranial nerves, which manage everything from our heartbeat to our facial expressions. One of these, the hypoglossal nerve, is responsible for the precise and coordinated movements of the tongue. Without its proper function, the physical act of forming words and speaking clearly becomes an immense challenge, a hurdle that can profoundly impact a child's ability to connect with the world around them. This new understanding invites us to think about autism not just as a behavioral or cognitive condition, but as something that could have a physical, neurological beginning. The inability to speak fluently or at all might not stem from a lack of desire, but from a disruption in the very hardware required for speech. This perspective offers a different kind of hope and a new direction for research. It shifts the focus from asking what is different in the mind, to what might have happened to the body during its earliest formation. This question is leading scientists to re-examine the first month of pregnancy as a period of incredible importance for lifelong health and development. This theory doesn't dismiss other factors, but it provides a foundational piece of the puzzle that may have been overlooked. The idea is simple yet profound. If the nerve that controls the tongue is impacted at the very start, the consequences will ripple outward, affecting not only speech but also feeding, social interaction, and a child's experience of the world. It's a concept that connects a microscopic event in the first few weeks of pregnancy to the wide-ranging characteristics we see in children with autism. Understanding this potential starting point is the first step toward developing entirely new ways to support these incredible children and their families on their unique journeys. The first month of pregnancy is a time of astonishing transformation, a period when the blueprints of a human being are laid down with incredible speed and precision. Around day 22 after conception, a critical event occurs. The neural tube, which will become the brain and spinal cord, begins to close. At this exact time, the hypoglossal nerve is forming. Because it is developing so rapidly, this nerve is exceptionally vulnerable. The theory we are examining suggests that external forces, such as physical pressure within the womb, could compress this delicate nerve. This compression, happening at such a crucial moment, could impair its structure and function for life. This idea of nerve damage from compression is not new to medicine. We see a similar process in other conditions. For example, think about diabetic neuropathy, where high blood sugar levels can damage nerves over time, often leading to numbness or pain in the hands and feet. Another example is carpal tunnel syndrome, where the median nerve in the wrist is squeezed, causing weakness and tingling. What is novel here is applying this concept of compression injury to the very beginning of life. The theory proposes that a fleeting event of physical stress on the developing embryo could set the stage for lifelong challenges with motor control, specifically the intricate movements needed for speaking. Beyond physical pressure, we must also consider the chemical environment of the developing embryo. The modern world is filled with substances that our ancestors never encountered. Some researchers, like Stephanie Seneff from MIT, have raised questions about common chemicals, such as the herbicide glyphosate. The hypothesis is that such chemicals could interfere with the body's ability to build proteins correctly. Proteins are the essential building blocks for everything, including nerves. If the body's ability to produce specific amino acids, the components of proteins, is disrupted, it could make it harder for the hypoglossal nerve to develop properly and be resilient against any physical stress it might encounter during that critical window. This convergence of factors, a vulnerable nerve, a critical developmental window, and potential environmental stressors, paints a complex but coherent picture. It suggests that autism isn't caused by a single thing, but perhaps by a perfect storm of events that occur at just the wrong moment. The damage might not be dramatic or immediately obvious, but it could be enough to alter the developmental trajectory of a child. Understanding these risks is not about placing blame, it is about empowering us with knowledge. It gives us a clearer target for research and prevention, focusing our attention on protecting the very earliest stages of human life. If a primary nerve controlling the tongue is compromised from the start, the effects extend far beyond just the mechanics of speech. This initial disruption can trigger a cascade of consequences, which aligns with a fascinating concept known as the intense world theory. This theory suggests that autism is not a deficit of feeling or awareness, but an overwhelming excess of it. Imagine if your senses were turned up to the maximum level all the time. Lights are brighter, sounds are louder, and emotions are more powerful. The brain, in an attempt to cope with this sensory and emotional overload, may create hyper-focused, repetitive routines as a way to create predictability and calm in a world that feels chaotic. This connection provides a powerful explanation for why some individuals with autism withdraw from social situations. It may not be a lack of interest in others, but rather an act of self-preservation. A conversation, with its rapid changes in tone, facial expressions, and unpredictable flow, can be an overwhelming sensory experience. The struggle to coordinate the tongue for speech, combined with this intense sensory input, can make social interaction exhausting and stressful. As a result, a child might retreat into their own world, not out of choice, but out of necessity. Their repetitive behaviors and focused interests could be a brilliant coping mechanism for a nervous system on high alert. This theory reframes our entire understanding of the condition. It shifts the perception from a child who is unable to connect to a child who is overwhelmed by connection. This simple but profound change in perspective can transform how we interact with and support individuals on the spectrum. Instead of pushing for more stimulation, we can focus on creating calm, predictable, and safe environments where the nervous system can rest. We can learn to appreciate that the intense focus on a specific topic or activity is not a limitation, but a source of joy, comfort, and incredible expertise for that individual. It celebrates their unique way of being in the world. Think of a real-life example. A child who can recite every detail about the solar system but finds it difficult to answer a simple, "How are you?" From the outside, this might seem puzzling. But through the lens of the intense world theory, it makes perfect sense. The facts about the solar system are stable, organized, and predictable. A conversation is dynamic, emotionally charged, and unpredictable. The child isn't being difficult, they are navigating a world that feels fundamentally different to them. Understanding this helps us build bridges of empathy, moving from judgment to acceptance and finding new ways to support their incredible potential. The rising prevalence of autism is a reality we can no longer ignore, with rates now affecting 1 in 36 children in the United States, and even more in some areas. The call for answers has become a roar. Families are seeking not just support, but solutions, and most importantly, hope. The theories we've explored, linking an early nerve injury to the broader characteristics of autism, open up exciting new avenues for both research and potential therapies. If a core issue is nerve function, then perhaps we can look to the cutting edge of regenerative medicine for answers. The idea of using stem cells to help repair or restore nerve function is no longer science fiction. Imagine a future where we could intervene early to support nerve regeneration, potentially restoring motor functions that were impaired before birth. While this is still an area of active research, the promise of stem cell therapy offers a powerful beacon of hope. It represents a shift from simply managing symptoms to addressing a potential root cause. This work requires significant investment and a renewed commitment from the scientific community to explore bold ideas. We need to resurrect promising research proposals and fund new studies that dare to look at old problems in new ways. The well-being of an entire generation of children depends on our willingness to innovate and explore every possibility. This research must go hand in hand with a greater focus on prevention. By understanding the environmental factors that may contribute to nerve vulnerability, we can better educate expectant parents and work to create a cleaner, safer world for the next generation. This includes studying the impact of common chemicals and advocating for policies that protect the delicate biological processes of early life. It's about creating an environment where every child has the best possible chance to thrive from the very beginning. This dual approach, pioneering new treatments while reducing potential risks, offers the most comprehensive path forward. Ultimately, the journey ahead requires a collective effort. It demands that we listen to the lived experiences of individuals with autism and their families, that we fund the brilliant researchers pushing the boundaries of science, and that we foster a society built on compassion and understanding. The statistics are not just numbers. They represent children, families, and communities. They represent an urgent call to action. We have the tools, the knowledge, and the moral imperative to unlock the mysteries of autism. By embracing new ideas and working together, we can build a future filled with more answers, more support, and more hope for everyone touched by this condition.